Welcome to my new podcast, and I am so delighted to be here and to open up this space with, uh, just excitement that I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and I just thought now is the time. Now is the time to come and create this new way of communicating with people. That is very popular, isn't it? Podcasting. And I decided to do it by audio only at the moment. I may sort of diversify as I go on, but I wanted to open up this podcast, which is called Diary of a Wayshower. And I consider myself a wayshower. I'm a 33 life path in numerology, which adds up into a 6 life path as well. And the 6 life path has run through my life, well, the 33 really, in the challenging things I've been through. But the 33 really is coming into its own now, I've noticed. So I thought that it would be really lovely to get this going because you can put things off, can't you? And never get things done, especially when you feel like you're going slightly out of your comfort zone, which I am, even though I'm used to talking on videos and teaching and presenting in live workshops and places. So here we go. So welcome to Diary of a Wayshower. Hopefully in the upcoming weeks and episodes, I may occasionally bring other people in and we have a great chat about their life and lessons they've learnt, things that they've seen and experienced, anything that comes up in the conversation, really. So today, I want to open up the space by talking about myself, really, for those that don't know me very well or are only listening to me for the first time now, and also just to put things in perspective as we move forwards. So I thought, I've been thinking about this, and I thought the best way to do this was to actually start at right now, where I am right now. But I'm going to give you a quick background of me so you understand a little bit about me. And I'm going to try and do it on like they do with the networking, where you've only got 3 minutes to talk. If you've ever tried networking, which is interesting, is it 3 minutes or 2 minutes? I can't even remember. So here we go. So I was born in a small town, a big town in Lancashire in 1965. I consider myself a divine feminine starseed. I was the only child of my mother and father. They brought me up just by myself. It was just me, and I I left home when I was 19 and moved down south to train to be a nurse. There is a background though to this, that when I was born in 1965 to my parents, they were in their 30s at the time, and they'd been trying for a child for about 12, 13 years. And of course, my path has been is a background of abuse, satanic ritual abuse. So I was born into a sort of family line, an ancestral line of repeated satanic ritual abuse and satanic contracts, blood contracts that were running down my father's side of the family, very profusely, very, deeply, and my own father running a very deep and profound sort of blood contract that was very heavy, which I'll explain as time goes on, and you'll learn about that. So I was subject to satanic ritual abuse from being a young little girl of about 4 years old, and that carried on for a number of years till I managed to leave home at 19 to train to be a nurse, which in hindsight, and retrospectively, when you look back, because I was completely asleep, I've been monarch programmed as well, which means I was mind controlled. And they had already worked out who I was, if I tell you, on a soul level. So they already wanted to target me very young and very early to block my soul gifts and abilities so that I wouldn't be able to activate, I wouldn't be able to come and do what I came here on this planet to do. And so they got me at a very early age. My mum, I now know, was also had been very badly abused as a child, was dissociated herself, and was continually mind controlled and spelled and black magicked to actually keep her in a sort of trance, so she was not aware what was happening to me. Okay, and that the energy, and it was coming from all angles. So I had school teachers, doctors, dentists, uncles, cousins, all linked to this energy, all abusing me in one way or another, and all it just went on and on and on and on. Now, I was totally dissociated. I left at 19, went nurse training, uh, nearly got there, but left before I qualified, about 8 months before I qualified. Long story, but that's just sort of an outline. I left. I'd met someone in London. I ended up going to live in the outskirts of London for several 8-9 years, working in various jobs in accounts and the corporate world. Was good at my job actually, but totally dissociated. Married my first husband, had two beautiful boys, the absolute apples of my eye. They are. They're grown up now and adult men living their own lives, thank goodness. I was dissociated, did not know what was going on. I ended up being in that marriage for about 5-6 years, but I was with him in total 12 years, and that's quite abusive, in not being physically abusive but mentally and emotionally abusive, with narcissistic behaviour rolled into it, which would be a typical control and handling situation after you've been programmed and monarched and everything. You will always have a handler, someone who's keeping an eye on you, someone who's making sure you're not opening your cage doors as such. They monitor you, and they manage you as well. And then I left on my when I was 33. The marriage ended at my insistence, and that was an activation point really for me. 33. I then was about a year on my own, met my second husband, married him, was with him for 26 years actually, brought my children up with him, and I am now single. I've been on my own for about just over a year now. I was known as Lynn Morris. I'm now Lynn Flowers. I took my mum's maiden name, which is a lovely name, and I didn't want to take my dad's after the energy of what that was carrying. Very felt guided to go with the name Flowers, my mum's name, much lighter and brighter energy. So I changed my name to Flowers, and I left my husband in March of 2024 with huge downloads and huge information coming in and confirmation that I was in a dangerous space and place and that I needed to leave. That if I didn't leave, I would be in big trouble. And to be quite honest, it was the most biggest shock of my life. I've been sort of, with my intuition and who I am as a ascension guide and a healer, quantum healer. I train other healers. I have done for years. And I was just so shocked by when the information came in quite fully in the March of 2024, which warned me that I was in a position where I was being controlled, even though I didn't realise I was being controlled. I was being cursed and black magicked every day, and I was being pummeled by it, but I was holding up really well with my energy field and who I am. I'm a great space holder. I was holding my space, but if you were to look at me and the pictures of me from that time and a few years before that, you would see that I had a puffed out face. I was about 1.5 stone heavier, if not more. I was exhausted most of the time. My mental health was not good. And, that was all contributing to who I was then. So, as I say, in hindsight, you look back at the pictures, you go, oh my God, I don't even recognise myself properly in those pictures. And it's difficult to explain what occurred just in a podcast, and over the coming weeks and months, you will learn more about my story, I'm sure. I'm here to share that now. I've been given so many kicks by my I am presence, and the councils have liked to say, get talking, come on, share your story, share what pathway you've walked, because it's going to help others, and it needs to be heard. So my husband I married in 2000, so it would have been our 25th wedding anniversary in May of this year. He seemed such a nice person, good heart, kind, an absolute saint compared to my first husband. Treated me very well, very respectfully. There was odd things that happened that in any marriage you think, what the hell are you playing at, I felt we were a good partnership. I felt that we got on like a house on fire. In the early years, it was a bit rougher. I was well under mind control and didn't realise. And I just was sleeping. I was not awake in any way. And it took till 2009, 9 years after I got married, when I woke up quite abruptly, actually. It was the whole year of 2009 was really intense for me, and I remember it quite clearly. And I, through a number of situations, I was pushed into trying to control this energy that I was feeling around me. I was, opening up my channels even more. I always knew I was intuitive. I always believed in eternal life. I always believed in energy. I believed in ghosts and angels. I always believed that. I always did. It was just something inherent in me that was always there from me being a much younger woman. I woke up in 2009. In the end, I left my job at the hospital because I went back nursing in about 2000, just after I got married. I was offered the chance to retrain as a registered nurse through a cardiac unit I was working in. I loved working in the cardiac unit, really did. I did very well. As an older woman with 2 children, I really had found more confidence. I was able to excel. I did extended role. I used to scrub for cardiac pacemakers and other tests. I just loved it. I loved it. I was a great team player. well respected, well liked. But I left. Through a series of things that happened, which was pushing me really to do the work on myself to wake up, because I needed to wake up. And so I started practicing meditating, and did my Reiki 1, then I did angelic Reiki training, went back to the hospital to work for about, I don't know, 8-9 months temporarily. And then I left permanently in January 2011 and set out to be a healer. I was hearing my calling. I gave up the pension. I gave up good money, to be honest, with what I was doing. But I just knew that something was calling me. Lynn, wake up. Lynn, wake up. You've got to wake up now. Lynn, wake up. Felt really, really important. And I've always listened to my gut. So I left, did all of that work, and started. Then I trained to be an angelic Reiki master teacher, started teaching others. I found my vocation. I was on top of the world. Honestly, I loved teaching. I found it so liberating. I just was full of energy and enthusiasm, and I just loved it. And I carried on from there, really, mentoring Starseeds light workers, still disassociated, still not realizing that I had a background of severe abuse. Now, it got to about, I'd always had a problem with low self-esteem, low confidence, even though I'd excelled in the hospital, before I left, and I still was running that inferiority complex, low confidence, low self-esteem. I'm not as good as everybody else. Everybody's better than me, what runs. And I was really digging into it. By about 2016, I was really digging into it. 2016, 2017. What is this? What's going on? And more and more was being revealed to me. And I think it was the final penny dropped in about 2020. That's a long time, isn't it, folks? 2020, when we were just going into that awful time. And I think it was actually my higher guides and soul team decided she needs to wake up now. She needs to be prepared. She needs to know what she's dealing with. At the time, my third eye was still blocked properly, even though I could do amazing soul readings. I could do Akashic records. I could do all sorts. I could do lots of healing sessions and all sorts of stuff. I'd already developed my own healing system. There was all sorts going on. And then 2020, it all came out, really. And through a series of things, I discovered that I had been abused as a child, severely. I went and got in contact with a specialist in Canada who specialised in satanic ritual abuse and demonic programming. I went and had some sessions with him. I must have had about 10 with them. In that time, I wasn't fully accepting that I had been. But it was when they started talking to me, they were able to open up those channels. They were with me, and I was able then to start recalling what had happened to me. Now, I was always talking from a detached space. I never felt the full horror of it. And I think that was a protective mechanism that I had in place. And I think actually my I am presence was holding, I was being protected from that to a certain extent. I reeled off these things, and after a few weeks of her saying to me, this is a common ritual, I've seen this before, I realised that, oh my God, this is real. This has happened to me. Now, I took a plunge then, very deeply for a little while in 2020, as I tried to comprehend the horror of what had happened to me. By that stage, my father had died in 2014. My mother had died in 2011. So they were both gone. No brothers and sisters. So I was on my own with it. So it sort of started to sink in that this had really happened. I have very good coping skills, very good at grounding and anchoring, daily practice. And those things stood me in good stead for what was to come, to be honest. And then I, I'm briefly skimming over this, all right. So, and then through a series of working with others and my bringing my own protocols forwards, I started to heal the wounds of my satanic ritual abuse and my light body. And I had felt like I was hitting a glass ceiling anyway in regards to my ascension pathway in 2020. And that was the answer why, because I'd deliberately had symbols put in certain areas. I'd had symbols put over the back of my heart, in my solar plexus, in my sacral, in my womb, at my lower back to block Kundalini rising, all of that stuff. And through a series of stuff, we cleared it. We cleared it. We got to 2022 and it was quite intense. I'd been doing a lot of planetary group work with another group of master souls. We had been targeted quite extensively. I'm not surprised with the work we were doing for the planet, and I was unraveling. I was clearing. Then we got rid of the monarch programming damage to a certain extent, with me doubting, like, how can I guide anybody if I've got this programming in me? I don't want to be sending people down the wrong road or doing things and they shouldn't be, but I was always very had faith in my guidance. I always was talking to the Councils of Light, Sanat Kumara, Lady Venus. I've worked with Lord Sanandra. I've worked with, Mary. I've worked with all of those frequencies, but of course, and energies. But it's trusting your own soul and what your own soul is showing you, what your own I am presence, which is the ultimate guide, and that has stood me in good stead in these years since then. We got to 2022. It was a weird year. My husband had an operation. He was in great pain. He had a big an operation. He'd left work, retired. I had my eldest son had emigrated to the States. My youngest son moved up and away and started his new life away from us, which was great. And we moved to Cornwall. I was guided to go to Cornwall, very, very profoundly and deeply guided to go to Cornwall. And we ended up in this place in Cornwall, and right by the water. And there was an inversion of energy running through the property. Now I was still trying to clear myself, and I had taken layers and layers away, and the programming, due to my my Christos architecture as such, light body architecture, working on that, starting to embody that, I was able to, if any programming came up, I was able to expel it out. Now it would rise up sometimes, and I would feel that, and I've got safety mechanisms in place with other people that I can go and check with. Am I okay? Can you just check in? I had all these safety things in place, and it got to 2022 and it really got intense. I'd moved to Cornwall. I was now in this new space where I was meant to be for the time, and little did I know is that I was clearing a major inversion running way up to Plymouth and actually affecting the Mother Arch Stargate in Cornwall. So I was sitting on like a time bomb, really, of where I was anchoring all the time there. But also I picked up some amazing codes while I was there, and that's what I was there for. And that work that I was doing there was linked to my future work. It's linked to my life's work. It's linked to my soul work, not only for this lifetime, but many others looking back. So it all was making sense a bit. And then things started taking a bit of a turn where my mental health went downwards, and I couldn't work out why. And I should have been happy. I was in Cornwall doing my thing. My kids were okay. I shouldn't have to worry about them. Uh, I was by the water. Everything should have been hunky dory. But I had this growing intuition and gut feeling that something was off. And the more I felt it was off, the more it just became apparent to me something was wrong in the energy of the atmosphere I was in and who I was living with. And it just got worse. And when you're with someone all the time, you can't always see what's going on. And it got to December 2022, and I had an accident on Christmas Day where I stabbed myself with my into my left hand with a carving knife. Now the carving knife was huge and it was serrated. And I was cooking Christmas dinner, starting to cook Christmas dinner on my own. My kids weren't with us, just me and my husband. So I was feeling a bit low. First time ever with no one for Christmas except me and him. And he was acting a bit strange, to be honest. And I stabbed myself in the hand with, I was working with garlic butter and I was trying to do the carrots and he wasn't helping. He was just, sat on his arse in the living room. Sorry, but he was. And I was cooking. I had some music on in the kitchen and I'd turned it off and I was just trying to do the carrots. I got some garlic butter, trying to get the garlic butter out of the container. Couldn't get it out, used the serrated knife. But something happened around that, I know, that I couldn't work out. How the knife managed to get into my hand. And it was big. And it was, oh my God, immediately, like a flap off my hand just opened up in between my thumb and forefinger. And blood just came flying out, like, oh shit, have I hit an artery? I tried holding it, bleeding it, like up in the air, pressure. My husband was no help whatsoever. Now, that wasn't normal behaviour for him. He would normally be very helpful in these situations, very calm, very, come on, let's get you to the hospital, let's do this, let's do that. He just acted very strange and he really played it. You don't need to go to hospital, you'll be shut. They don't shut on Christmas Day, I said to him. But it's just really odd. And I ended up phoning 101. Why would I phone them for an injury in a hand like that? I mean, now I look back as former nursing and all sorts, like, Lynn, what were you doing? Anyway, I had to wait for a phone call. It took hours. By the time I got the phone call, it was in the evening. My hand was oozing and oozing and oozing. And they said, you just better go to hospital. Well, by that time, I don't know, it was just odd. I couldn't even get to the hospital and I can't even tell you why I didn't go, right? But it makes sense. The next day, I go on Boxing Day to the hospital. Why didn't you come yesterday? We can't stitch it now. You're going to have to steri-strip it. It's going to keep opening itself up until you can knit it and they brought someone to have a look at it even. No, it's okay. It will, but we can't. It'll just open up and we can't even. We'll try gluing it, but we don't think it's going to hold, which it didn't actually. So that ruined Christmas, really. That ruined Christmas. And from that, from that energy and that moment, my mental health went down and I was very low in the January and the February of that year. And I just couldn't work out what was going on. To cut a long story short, I got out of that a bit. I managed to get out of that energy. But by the September, October 2023, which was about, 9-10 months from the initial incident of the hand, I was seeing increasing strange behaviour from my husband, which was very distant. There was no emotion. He was like an automaton. He was like a robot. I just knew there was something wrong. Like this is weird. Uh, I didn't trust him. I fell off with him. I didn't even feel I could trust him. He wasn't even sleeping in the same bedroom as me. It was just really odd. And I went away for a couple of weeks abroad to see my son, which gave me that chance to breathe and look at it from another angle, trying to see if there was something I was missing. I couldn't work it out, and then came back and had Christmas on my own with him again. It was a bit better. Managed to be working, doing stuff, but I just knew something was wrong. And I was asking and asking, what is this? Why are we in this situation? Why do I not trust him? What is he doing? Who is he? Who is he really? That was a big question for me. Who is he? We knew that he'd been in Atlantis. We knew that he had a couple of other lifetimes. We knew he was never interested in spirituality, really. He only humoured me. He wasn't interested. And it turned out that actually he was handling me, and he was doing that on purpose because he didn't want me to go into full activation. They didn't want me to go into full embodiment. It was a setup from the very beginning. It all culminates last March, where the whole download came in all at once. I was up, we had a caravan up further up in Devon. I was there by myself, thank God. And all this information came in all at once. I had it checked by a couple of people I really trusted, that, and they confirmed and got the same thing. Yes, you're right. And then I was just guided, like, you just gotta walk away. You've got to walk away. This will not end good. If you stay, you're being black magicked, you're being incantated, cursed, and you are being triggered by a latent program that is sitting with you and within you, that is a suicide program. Well, I tell you, that just floored me. But I was savvy. I've dealt with people that have got these issues, so I knew there could have been something running, like as a backup plan in the programming to sort of take me out. I understood that, and I had been scanned constantly, people checking in on me, like, so I knew that there was always a possibility of that, and that's why I always was checking in and blah 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 blah. And then it's obvious what comes is that attack with the knife, that was actually, you were being triggered, and you were given some trigger words and trigger music that actually triggered your suicide program to activate as soon as that happened. And that's why you went into a low state after the knife incident, and you were struggling with your mental health for a few months because you were in your suicide programming. Can you believe that, folks? Can you believe that? Someone that you have lived with for 20 odd years is carrying the permissions and the codes and the keys to activate your suicide. I mean, that is heartbreaking, isn't it? So you can imagine my devastation when all of that information came in and it fitted together. And I realised that I was in a dangerous position and I could not go home. So literally the decision was made in mid-March and I was still in the caravan, not at home. Good excuses to work from the caravan because I used to go there every March and do that. I then had to just stay there, make an excuse, and that I would be home for Easter. And then the day before Easter Friday, I packed up. All I had with me was one suitcase, small suitcase, my laptops and a few crystals, some things I took out the caravan, but there was people coming to stay because we rented it out. So I took a few things out the caravan that I knew I could get away with, that I wouldn't, wouldn't be missed or wouldn't look amiss. And I literally walked away from my life. And I mean, I walked away from my life. I walked away from the caravan that I've never seen again. I walked away from the house that I never saw again from early March. I walked away from the husband. I walked away from my life, all my family pictures, possessions, memories, all of my crystal collection that was worth a lot of money, all of my stock of my sprays and grids that I had there that was worth quite a few thousand. I had to walk away, and I was told, don't look back, don't go and get your stuff, leave it, and just walk away. And that's what I did. And yeah, it's been a year. It was my Saturn return last year. That's why this sort of brought it up to the crux. It was my Saturn return. And my Saturn return ended on December the 19th, 2024. And that was the day after I moved into this space here on my own home. So what a year. I can't explain to you how I felt. It was you just feel like you've lost everything, and it felt like the floor had opened up and I had dropped through it, and that there was nowhere for me to land. So I was just like dropping into a black abyss, into the void. And I had to trust. That was my biggest thing. That was the biggest thing they kept saying to me. You must trust. You must trust and have faith. We've got you. And of course they had me. Of course they had me. I had me. My I am presence had me. And it happened for me. I know that. But that probably was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. And there's been other things that I've had to do. And when I discovered I'd been, satanically ritually abused in 2020, that was a hard time. That was a dark night of the soul. Dark night of the soul last year as well, with the Saturn return. Dark night of the soul when I left my first husband. And other things that have gone on. But I can't say that wasn't the worst one I've ever been through. It was. But oh my goodness me, let's just put some niceness in here. I feel now so much different. I feel so much lighter, brighter. I feel free for the first time in my life. I feel free. No one is handling me. No one is managing me. No one is telling me what to do. No one is looking or keeping an eye on me. No one is putting me in a box. I can say what I want. I can do what I want. I can go to bed when I want. I can cook when I want. I can go where I want. I just don't have to answer to anybody. All I answer to is Mother, Father, God and Source. They are my bosses. And I am my own boss, because we are Source, aren't we? Ourselves incarnated. We are Source ourselves. We are the creator within us. And I can see now, looking back, how much I couldn't see, how much familiarity of 20 odd years clouds your mind. So everything is just normal, and you don't see what's really going on, and how things like this, where they can handle you and manage you, and they'll do it for years. They'll play the long game. They'll play the long game if they have to. And there are other aspects to this that I can't talk about today, but there is another story in relation to that marriage that is linked to this. And there is a story of an even worse thing happening in regards to my husband, and he wasn't retrievable. And don't think I wouldn't have done that if I could. With the work I do, with working with people with trauma, soul trauma, and having the protocols through my own journey of adversity with this, and my own tests of initiation, if I could have done something for him, I would, but I couldn't. And I was told very clearly that I couldn't, and that I was to walk away, for my own sanity, for my own protection, uh, and for my destiny. It was very interesting. I remember them saying to me, that's a fated life that you were living, a life that they wanted you to have, was now your destiny is opening up. Your true path, your elevated path, the path your soul wants you to walk has opened up now, and you can then embrace that and go with it. And it was a bad year. I mean, I didn't really do much. I didn't do any training, healing training. I did some readings and odd sessions and things. Towards the end of the year, it got better. I was more in my space. I was able to come back. And now, wow, I am just in a new space, a new energy. And I'm in my power. And I feel I can do anything. And creating new courses, new ascension courses, and you know doing lots of planning new things and new retreats and new workshops. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited and raring to go, and everything is more in balance. I'm in balance, I'm in equilibrium. I am not in fear and flight all the time, or my body knowing that something was up but couldn't tell me what was up. So my body was responding by having loads of weight and being in inflammation and being tired and lethargic and all of those things. Now I've got energy. I've lost weight. I've got enthusiasm. I can do whatever I want, wherever I want to go. I can just go with the flow. I don't have to answer to anybody else. If I want to go off for the day to the beach or the seaside, I can. If I want to go to a sacred site because I feel I'm guided to, I go. If I want to go and book a trip to, abroad somewhere because I'm feeling guided to go, I go. It's amazing. I mean, and it was. I'm not saying last year wasn't hard. Oh my God, I was very, very low. In the fact that aspects of, I suppose, my lower self were stripped away in that journey of my I suppose my personality, my ego wanting to be in control and not knowing what was happening next was like driving my ego mad. And that was the test of just surrender to the divine. The divine's got you. It's got you, and it will guide you to a safe place. And it did. By God, did it. Was this place guided to me? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm in the right space at the right time. And as I say, everything has just lightened up so much more than ever before. And as I say, I feel so alive and free. And I'm in charge of my own destiny now. No one else. No one else has any right to control me or tell me what to do. My boundaries are much better. And I learned a lot through last year. And there was some amazing people that stepped up to assist me, that gave me a home to live in, because I was homeless last year. I couldn't earn any money. And also the money, any access to the money that we'd had was shut off completely as soon as I went. So it was like just a roller coaster of how do I support myself? How do I raise some money? How do I, all of these things? Because when you lose everything at once, where do you start? But I had a bit of an adventure. I went to Spain for 3 months, took my car, Miss Maisie. I call her Miss Maisie. I took my car to Spain, went to stay with a good friend in Spain. That was, all was how it was supposed to be, and I can't wait for my future. It's here now, in the present, and I'm living my best life. And I'm not afraid to speak up now. I'm not afraid to speak up of what I've been through, and of my targeting and interference, and people sent in to handle me. Uh, and that bit of my life is over with. It's gone. It's cleared. It's gone. It's done. Uh, and you know, life is for living, and we do put ourselves in gilded cages. I'm an extreme case, so please know that I'm an extreme case. But this is what I've lived as a divine feminine starseed, as someone holding the mother art codes of, holding code that can override DNA distortions and 12-strand DNA activation, being able to walk into sacred sites and activate them, and and clear the inversions and work on a planetary level. I do all of that work and activate other divine feminine souls, and give them the tools to clear that. And they didn't want me doing that, of course, evidently and obviously they didn't want me doing that, and I must have known what I was coming into. I do think at times, oh my God, what was I thinking? But we came here to do a job, and and if I can overcome this, we can overcome anything, and I have overcome it, and I am in so much gratitude and grace now for the journey, because I've learnt a lot, and hopefully I've taken down a lot with my journey and what we were able to do when we found out what had happened, and we were able to go and clear stuff linked to me. There's lots of things I've helped clear on the Tudor timeline with this journey, which I'll talk about in future weeks. You know, you have to see the bigger picture. You have to see the bigger picture of what you're doing on a planetary level, for the planet, and that we've to keep going. We are doing so well. We are a team light, and I'm so grateful for everybody that supported me last year and really helped me believe in myself and help keep my mental health up at a certain level. There are particular few people that really helped me in so many different ways that were, if they weren't around, I don't know what I would have done, to be honest. So I am so grateful, and as I say, we can overcome anything. So I just wanted to talk about that, really. I wanted to get that over with at the very beginning, so that I can talk about other things after this. But that's the story. That is what happened to me last year, and I have no contact with who I was living with. I can't have any contact that isn't for my highest good. Even though I have been, can you imagine from a 3D perspective of the people around that person? They cannot understand what I've done or why I've done it, because the 3D perspective does not see what I see and what had to happen. I was very protected, very overlighted. If I think what danger I was in sitting there, it was quite great. Ever since, well, all the time I've been married, but there wasn't going to be any time after the kids went, really, and then I was to, being on my own. That was where the danger period was. That was exactly the danger bit, and that was why they were only going to plan to suicide me after 2022, when my children had gone, and that was the plan. So wow, I am so grateful still to be here. It takes more than that to get rid of me. And I'm 59, I'm 60 in September and just starting a whole new life. And I'm very grateful for um, being here and seeing the world through my eyes now. And I hope I haven't bored you too much with what I was talking about, but I wanted to talk about that and just and tell you that bit, because that bit of my life is over with now, and it was confirmed that is all clear. That's gone. It's you know, I am in a very protected space and place. I hold my own freedom. I'm a divine sovereign being. Uh, and um, as I say, there's so much to look forwards to now. So I hope uh, this wasn't too boring for you, and that you'll listen to the next episode where I'm going to bring lots of beautiful stories in and things and of my adventures over the years, and also because I've had some amazing experiences. And also, I will bring other people on at certain points when I feel that we could do with a bit of variety and other things. So, thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you for listening, as I've just said. And I will see you next time. Thank you and bye.